Inside of you, at this very moment, resides a power of almost infinite magnitude. A power capable of healing, of drawing in immense wealth, of guiding you toward harmonious relationships, and of turning your boldest dreams into a tangible reality. However, for the vast majority of us, this power lies dormant. It is a benevolent giant that waits in silence for the command to awaken and place itself at our service. We live our lives operating with only a fraction of our true capacity. We struggle, we strive, we attempt to force results with the limited willpower of our conscious mind. We question why life feels so difficult, why we stumble upon the same obstacles again and again, without recognizing that often we are fighting against the current of our own immense inner power. The key to radically transforming your existence does not lie in fighting harder against the outside world, but in learning to communicate with the director of your inner world, your subconscious mind. This is a journey to the control center of your own reality. Throughout these words, you will learn the laws that govern this giant, the language it comprehends, and the precise techniques to impress your desires upon its creative substance. You will discover that you are not a victim of circumstances, but the silent programmer of your own experience. This is only the beginning of the exploration. If this subject resonates with you and you feel the call to awaken your own inner power, like this video and subscribe to join us on this journey at Elite Success Audiobooks. The giant is about to awaken. The question is, what are you going to command it to build? There is a number that has echoed through ancient wisdom traditions and modern quantum research alike: 777. It is considered a frequency of alignment, a signal that the universe is responding to your inner state. Before you continue, take a breath and hold that number in your awareness, because what you are about to receive is not simply information. It is a set of keys that, when applied with feeling and conviction, may begin to shift the invisible architecture of your reality in ways that your logical mind cannot yet fully measure. You are not here by accident, and the fact that you have arrived at this precise moment, at this precise threshold of understanding, already means something. Chapter 1. The two captains of your ship, the conscious and subconscious mind. To understand the immense power that lies dormant within us, we must first understand the structure of our own mind. We are not a single monolithic entity. Our consciousness is a dual system composed of two distinct intelligences, two captains who govern the ship of our life, often with completely different intentions and languages. The first captain is the one we all know. It is the conscious mind. It is that voice in your head that is listening to these words right now. It is the thinker, the analyzer, the one who makes logical decisions. Picture the ship of your life. Your conscious mind is the captain on the command bridge. It uses its 5 senses like a telescope to observe the outside world. It consults its maps and navigational charts, your education, your knowledge, and your logical reasoning. Based on this information, it makes decisions and issues orders. The conscious captain is the guardian at the gate. It holds the power to choose. It can evaluate an idea, accept it, or reject it. It is the seat of willpower, the force that drives us to strive, to discipline ourselves, to attempt to push a result into being. The conscious captain believes most of the time that he is the sole commander, that the ship moves because of his brilliance and his effort at the helm. But this is a dangerous illusion, because below deck, in the vast and often shadowed engine room of the ship, works the second captain, a force of infinitely superior power. This is your subconscious mind. If the conscious mind is the captain who gives the orders, the subconscious mind is the entire crew and the monumental machinery of the ship. It does not reason. It does not debate. It does not choose. Its sole function is to accept the orders from the command bridge and execute them with relentless and perfect efficiency. The engine room does not concern itself with whether the captain orders a course toward a tropical paradise or toward a field of icebergs. The order is the order, and it will mobilize the full power of the ship to reach that destination. Your subconscious mind is the seat of your emotions. It is the archive of every experience you have ever lived, the book of your life where nothing is forgotten. It governs all the vital functions of your body, your heartbeat, your breathing, your digestion, without you having to think about any of it. It is the source of your intuition, your instincts, your creative inspirations, and most importantly, it is the point of connection with a greater intelligence and power, what some traditions call the universal mind or infinite intelligence. The most crucial characteristic of the subconscious mind, the one you must engrave into your memory, is that it is completely impersonal and non-selective. It is like the fertile soil of a garden. The soil does not distinguish whether you plant the seed of a rose or the seed of a poisonous weed. It receives any seed you offer it and will cultivate it with the same energy and dedication. Your subconscious operates in exactly the same way. It accepts as absolute truth any thought, belief, or feeling that your conscious mind habitually and with conviction hands over to it. This is where we discover the true dynamics of power. The captain on the command bridge, your conscious mind, may believe he is in control, but it is the engine room, your subconscious mind, that truly moves the ship. The interaction between the two is governed by the law of belief. The law is straightforward. Your subconscious will accept and materialize any belief that your conscious mind accepts as true. It does not matter whether that belief is objectively accurate or false. It does not matter whether it is beneficial or destructive for you. If your conscious mind, the captain, genuinely believes that it is very difficult to generate money, that belief is the order shouted down to the engine room. The subconscious crew accepts it as fact and begins to operate your reality in such a way that making money does indeed become incredibly difficult. It will cause you to overlook opportunities, to make poor decisions, to feel a peculiar aversion to wealth. Conversely, if the captain genuinely believes that he always finds the solutions to his problems, the engine room receives that order and gets to work. It will sharpen your intuition, bring relevant information to your memory, and make you notice synchronicities and opportunities that will guide you directly to the solution. The fundamental problem, the origin of most human suffering and struggle, lies in the conflict between the conscious and subconscious minds. This is what occurs when the captain gives contradictory orders. Consciously, with his willpower, the captain declares, "I want to be brave and self-confident." But in his heart, in his deepest belief forged in childhood, he feels, "I am not good enough. I am not worthy." The engine room, the subconscious mind, receives both orders. Which one does it obey? Always, without exception, it obeys the stronger one, the one charged with more feeling and conviction. It disregards the captain's surface-level desire and executes the deep-seated belief. And so the person finds themselves self-sabotaging, acting with insecurity despite all their conscious efforts to project courage. It is not a failure of their willpower. It is a triumph of the law of belief. Their ship is impeccably heading toward the destination of not being enough, because that is the true order the captain has been transmitting from his heart. To take genuine control of your life, you do not need more willpower to row harder. You need to become a better captain. A captain who understands that his most important responsibility is not to force the helm, but to consciously choose the thoughts, images, and feelings he transmits to his powerful and infallible crew. Practice observing your two captains. The first step toward becoming a master of your mind is self-observation. You must grow aware of the orders you have been issuing automatically. Exercise 1. The Captain's and Engine Room's Log. For the next week, dedicate 5 minutes at the end of each day to this exercise in your journal. Create 2 columns. In column 1, write the conscious intentions, desires, and goals you held for that day. For example, I wanted to eat nourishing food. I wanted to be productive and complete my work. I wanted to be patient with my family. In column 2, write what actually happened, your automatic behaviors and your dominant feelings. For example, I had an irresistible craving for sugar and gave into it. I drifted onto social media for 2 hours. I lost my composure over something trivial. This exercise is not for self-judgment. It is so that you can see with absolute clarity the gap that exists between your conscious desires and your subconscious programming. It is the diagnosis of your current state. Exercise 2. Identifying the dominant suggestions. Now take it a step deeper. Become an observer of your own internal dialogue throughout the day. What are the phrases, the recurring orders you repeat to yourself most frequently? Carry a small notebook or use a notes app. Every time you catch yourself holding a strong, repetitive thought about yourself or about life, write it down. Are they predominantly restrictive? Phrases like, "This is too hard," "I will never make it," "The same thing always happens to me." Or are there any constructive ones? "I can handle this," "I will find a way," "Things tend to work out for me." This record will reveal the default programming that your engine room is running 24 hours a day. These habitual thoughts and the feelings they generate are the master orders that are constructing your reality. You have been the captain of your ship your entire life. But perhaps until now you have been navigating on autopilot, attributing the results to the sea or the crew, without recognizing that the ship has only ever been faithfully following your own orders, the beliefs you have accepted as true. The first and most vital step toward mastery is not learning to control the ocean. It is to control the captain. It is to consciously take command. Now that you understand your two captains and the power dynamic between them, you are prepared to learn the specific language that the engine room comprehends, the language that transforms a simple desire into an executive order. Chapter 2. The Supreme Law. Your mind believes everything you tell it. The conscious captain gives the orders and the subconscious crew obeys. This is the foundational dynamic that governs the ship of your life. But with what ink are these orders written so that the engine room receives them without ambiguity? What is the immutable law that governs this communication between your two minds? The law is astonishingly simple, and understanding it fully is the master key to unlocking your complete potential. The law is this: your subconscious mind will accept as absolute truth any idea, thought, or belief that your conscious mind presents to it with sufficient conviction and feeling. To grasp this in its full depth, consider a metaphor. Imagine that your subconscious mind is the most fertile plot of land in the world, a rich, dark soil capable of cultivating anything with extraordinary vitality. Your conscious mind is the gardener, and your habitual thoughts, ideas, and beliefs are the seeds this gardener plants in the soil. The most essential thing you must understand about this soil is that it is completely neutral and impersonal. It carries no preferences. It does not judge. Its only nature is to grow whatever is placed within it. If the gardener plants the seed of a rose, the soil will channel all its power to produce a beautiful and fragrant rose. If the gardener, out of ignorance or carelessness, plants a seed of nightshade, a poisonous plant, the soil will cultivate it with the same care and the same energy. The soil does not say, "This is poison, I refuse to grow it." Its law is that of unconditional growth. Your subconscious mind operates under this same supreme law. It does not reason. It does not debate. It does not alert you if your thoughts are constructive or destructive. It simply receives them as seeds and employs its immense power to make them germinate and manifest as circumstances, conditions, and experiences in your life. Here we discover the origin of everything we experience. Health and illness, wealth and poverty, success and failure are not the result of chance or luck. They are the harvest of the seeds we have been planting, consciously or unconsciously, in the garden of our mind throughout our entire lives. The power of a belief to materialize in the body and in life is something that science has rigorously observed and documented, though it often cannot fully explain it. The clearest and most compelling example is the placebo effect. Imagine a patient with an ailment. A doctor, authority figure, offers them a sugar pill, but communicates that it is a new and powerful medicine that will restore them to health. This is a suggestion. The patient's conscious mind, the gardener, accepts this suggestion as truth. It plants the seed of, "I am being healed," in the fertile soil of the subconscious. What occurs next? The subconscious, which holds absolute authority over all the functions, processes, and chemistry of the body, receives the order healing and gets to work. It begins to produce the necessary compounds, to adjust the immune system, to do whatever is required for the healing to manifest. And the patient recovers. The sugar pill carried no power. The power resided in the patient's belief, activated by the doctor's suggestion. The subconscious simply executed the blueprint it was given. This phenomenon also operates in reverse, in what is known as the nocebo effect. If an authority figure persuades you that something will harm you, your subconscious will accept that belief and can even generate symptoms of illness, even in the complete absence of a physical cause. These examples illuminate a universal truth. The master seed, the belief, holds the power to generate its own reality. But a seed, to germinate, requires a vital element. It requires water. In the garden of the mind, the water is emotion. A thought without feeling carries very little power to impress upon the subconscious mind. You can repeat the affirmation, "I am prosperous," 1,000 times each day with your conscious mind. But if, while doing so, you feel the anxiety of unpaid obligations, if you feel the contraction of scarcity, what real order is your subconscious actually receiving? You are planting a seed of abundance with your lips, but irrigating it with the poison of fear and doubt. And your subconscious, which responds to the language of emotion above all else, will cultivate the harvest of the dominant feeling. The genuine formula for mental reprogramming is thought plus feeling equals belief. A clear and defined thought, the seed, consistently watered with a congruent emotion. The water is what creates the conviction, the belief that the subconscious accepts as an irrevocable order. Your subconscious does not respond to what you think. It responds to how you feel about what you think. The feeling is the seal that validates the order for the engine room. By comprehending this law, you realize that your greatest responsibility in life is to become the guardian at the gate of your own mind. Your conscious mind holds a power we routinely underestimate, the power to choose. You possess the ability to select the seeds you allow to enter the fertile garden of your subconscious. Every day, the world attempts to flood your garden with foreign seeds. The news delivers seeds of fear and instability. Social media delivers seeds of comparison and inadequacy. Cynical or discouraged people offer seeds of doubt. If you do not exercise your authority as guardian, these seeds will take root without your awareness and begin to grow like weeds throughout your life. Your responsibility as a conscious captain is to examine every thought and every idea before granting it access to the engine room. You hold the authority to refuse any thought that does not serve your well-being. When someone tells you, "That's impossible," or "You're not capable of that," your conscious mind has the power to stop that suggestion at the gate and declare internally, "I reject this idea. In my reality, expansion is always possible, and I am more than equipped for this." By doing this, you protect your garden from external contamination. Practice becoming a conscious gardener. Exercise 1. The Seed Inventory. For the next 3 days, become an impartial observer of your own thoughts. Keep a journal with 3 columns. Column 1. Thoughts that elevate me. Rose seeds. Note here any thought that generates feelings of confidence, joy, gratitude, or capability. Column 2. Thoughts that restrict me. Nightshade seeds. Note here any thought of doubt, fear, self-criticism, complaint, or pessimism. Column 3. Neutral thoughts. Purely functional or observational thoughts. At the end of the 3 days, review your lists. What kind of seeds are you planting most often? This is the origin of your current harvest. Awareness is the first step toward transformation. Exercise 2. The Reject and Replace Technique. This is your practical training as a guardian at the gate. It is a 2-step process you can apply at any moment of the day. Step A. Conscious rejection. Every time you catch yourself thinking a limiting thought, stop. Visualize a barrier in your mind, a shield, a boundary, and say inwardly with firmness, "I cancel and reject this idea. I do not permit it into my garden." Step B. Immediate replacement. Right after rejecting the negative, plant an opposing and empowering seed. Water this new seed with a positive emotion, however subtle. If the thought is, "I am afraid of failing," you cancel it and replace it with, "I am fully prepared and capable of expressing my value with clarity and calm." This technique, practiced with diligence, is like consistently weeding and planting new growth. At first, it requires conscious effort. Over time, the new thought pattern becomes natural. Your subconscious mind is the most powerful and devoted servant you will ever encounter. It does not dispute with you. It simply complies. The quality of your life, therefore, does not depend on external circumstances, but on the quality of the seeds that you, the gardener, choose to plant each day in the sacred and fertile ground of your mind. Chapter 3. The Language of the Subconscious. Imagination over Logic. Armed with the sword of willpower, we attempt to tear out the weeds by force. We tell ourselves with rigid discipline, "I will not think about scarcity anymore. I have to stop worrying. I am going to compel myself to be confident." We enter an all-out battle against our own mental patterns, believing that with sufficient effort and struggle, we can subdue them. And, almost always, we fail completely. The more we fight against a thought, the stronger it becomes. The more we force ourselves to feel something, the more elusive that emotion grows. We end up exhausted, frustrated, and convinced that we lack the necessary willpower to change. But the problem is not our lack of will. The problem is that we are employing the wrong instrument. We are attempting to speak to the engine room in a language it simply does not understand. And that very attempt produces the opposite effect. The French psychologist Émile Coué formulated a fundamental law of the mind that explains this with perfect clarity. It is the law of reversed effort. The law states, when the will and the imagination are in conflict, the imagination always wins, without exception. Consider a straightforward example. Imagine a wooden plank 10 meters long and 1 meter wide, placed flat on the ground. Could you walk across it from one end to the other without losing your balance? Of course, with complete ease. It demands almost no effort of your will. Now imagine that same wooden plank suspended between the rooftops of 2 tall buildings. Could you walk across it now? Your will, your conscious desire to cross, is identical. But now your imagination has entered the equation. You begin to picture the fall, the void, the terrible consequence. The more you attempt to force yourself to walk, the more vivid the images of falling become. Your imagination of failure paralyzes your will to succeed. The conflict has begun, and the imagination will always prevail. This principle operates in every area of life. When you try to force yourself to sleep, your imagination fills with images of yourself restless and wakeful, and the result is insomnia. When you attempt to force yourself to recall a forgotten name, your mind goes completely blank. It is only when you release the effort and stop straining that the name surfaces naturally in your consciousness. The struggle, the forced effort, the tension, these are the language of the conscious captain. But the subconscious does not respond to force. It responds to a far more subtle, ancient, and powerful language. The native language of the subconscious. If we wish to communicate effectively with the engine room, we must stop shouting commands in the captain's language and begin speaking in the native tongue of the crew. This language is composed of 3 primary elements. The first is images and symbols. The subconscious mind processes reality through images. It is pre-verbal. If someone tells you not to think about your home, it is already too late. The image of your home has appeared in your mind instantly, completely, and loaded with meaning. The conscious mind, by contrast, thinks in words, which are linear and abstract. The subconscious does not process negatives effectively. When you tell yourself, "I do not want to be unwell," the image your subconscious registers is that of illness. This is precisely why visualization is one of the most potent reprogramming instruments available. A clear and vivid image of your desired outcome is a direct and comprehensible order for your subconscious. The second element is feeling and emotion. As established in the previous chapter, feeling is the water that makes the seed of thought germinate. The subconscious is the emotional mind. You may hold a mental image of a bank account reflecting a certain level of abundance. But if upon seeing it you feel the anxiety of doubt or the frustration of lack, the message your subconscious receives is not abundance, it is anxiety and lack. Emotion is the signature that validates the order. An image, regardless of its clarity, carries little power if it is emotionally neutral. But an image, even an imprecise one, charged with the feeling of joy, peace, or gratitude, becomes a highest priority directive. The third element is stories and metaphors. The subconscious is drawn deeply to narrative. A well-crafted story can bypass the critical filter of the conscious mind and plant a powerful idea directly in the subconscious garden. This is why parables and myths have been the most enduring teaching instruments of humanity across millennia. When you absorb a story, your conscious mind relaxes and follows the narrative, but your subconscious mind receives the symbolic message and the transformation of the central character as if it were its own experience. Telling yourself a new story about your life is one of the most effective pathways to rewriting your internal script. Images, feelings, and stories. This is the language we must learn to speak, and the faculty that allows us to use this language is imagination. This is where we must correct a widespread cultural misunderstanding. We often regard imagination as a form of childlike escapism, an unproductive daydream. Nothing could be further from the truth. Imagination, when employed in a disciplined way, is not an escape from reality. It is the workshop where the reality of tomorrow is constructed. Every bridge, every symphony, every enterprise first existed as an image in someone's imagination. Imagination is the creative faculty through which the infinite power of your subconscious takes form. Imagination is the master key because it resolves the conflict between will and belief. When you attempt to force a result with your will, you are fighting against your existing programming. But when you employ imagination, you are not fighting against anything. You are simply creating a new blueprint, a new possibility. The conscious mind registers it as, "I am simply imagining this," so it lowers its defenses and offers no resistance. But the subconscious mind, which does not distinguish between a real experience and one that is vividly imagined, takes that blueprint and accepts it as a new order. It immediately begins working to transform that image into your physical reality. The most powerful application of imagination and the core of Joseph Murphy's teaching is to evoke the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Do not imagine the process, often long and uncertain, of achieving your goal. Imagine the final scene. Imagine that your desire is already an accomplished fact. Do not imagine receiving the opportunity. Imagine celebrating after your first month of living within it. Do not imagine earning the resources. Imagine experiencing the security and freedom those resources have already granted you. The goal is to generate within yourself the feeling of naturalness, the feeling that this is already your normal. When you can feel the emotion of your wish fulfilled as a natural and present state, you have successfully communicated to your subconscious. You have planted the seed and watered it with the feeling of certainty. From that point, the growth is automatic. Practice training your disciplined imagination. Exercise 1. The Relaxation Experiment. This simple exercise will give you a direct physical experience of the law of reversed effort. Step A. The effort. Sit comfortably and attempt to force yourself to relax. Clench your fists, tighten your shoulders, and mentally command yourself, I must relax right now. I need to be calm. Observe what happens in your body. You will notice that you become even more tense. Your will and your actual state are in direct conflict. Step B. The imagination. Now release all tension and, instead of commanding yourself to do anything, simply begin to imagine. Picture yourself floating in a pool of perfectly warm water on a sunlit afternoon. Feel the gentle embrace of the water against your skin. Feel your body becoming light, effortless, weightless. Listen to the soft murmur of the water around you. Do not try to relax. Simply allow yourself to inhabit the imaginary scene and the feeling of ease. Observe how, without any deliberate effort, your muscles begin to release and your breathing grows deeper and slower. You have used the correct language. Exercise 2. The mental rehearsal. Choose a small, upcoming event that generates a degree of anxiety in you. It might be a challenging conversation, a presentation at work, or a new social encounter. Instead of worrying about it, which is a negative use of imagination, a rehearsal of failure, you are going to perform a positive mental rehearsal. Close your eyes for 2 minutes. Imagine the scene not as it might unfold, but as you would most want it to unfold, in its finest version. Do not concentrate on the exact words you will say. Concentrate on the feeling. Imagine yourself feeling entirely calm, assured, and articulate. Visualize the other person as receptive and warm. Bring the encounter to a satisfying conclusion. Feel the emotion of completion, the feeling of having shown up fully. Repeat this 2-minute mental film several times in the days or hours preceding the event. You are not attempting to control the future. You are programming your inner state so that you enter the situation from a place of confidence and composure, which dramatically elevates the probability of a positive outcome. Stop fighting. Start imagining. Your willpower is a finite instrument, like a battering ram attempting to break through a reinforced door. Your imagination is the master key that opens that same door effortlessly. It is your direct communication channel with the creative power of your subconscious mind, the giant that patiently awaits your blueprints before it begins to build. Chapter 4. The Technique of Autosuggestion. Planting New Seeds. The word suggestion may bring to mind images of stage performers. But in its purest form, a suggestion is simply an idea or concept introduced to the mind with the intention of it being accepted. We exist immersed in an ocean of suggestions every single day. An advertisement suggests you require a new possession to feel complete. A news headline suggests the world is a place of danger. A well-meaning acquaintance suggests your vision is too ambitious. Most of us are passive recipients of these external suggestions. We allow the seeds of others to take root in our garden without question or examination. Autosuggestion is the act of reclaiming authority over this process. It is the discipline of becoming your own source of directed influence, of consciously selecting the seeds you wish to plant in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. The principle is clear. Any suggestion repeated with sufficient frequency and emotion is eventually accepted by the subconscious and becomes an ingrained belief. And once it becomes a belief, the subconscious will employ all of its resources to manifest it throughout your reality. Autosuggestion is not superficial positive thinking. It is a precise technique for rewriting your internal script. For an autosuggestion or affirmation to be genuinely effective, it must honor a series of principles. Disregarding these principles is why affirmations produce no results for so many people. The first principle is simplicity and clarity. Your subconscious mind is like a child in its receptivity. It does not respond well to complexity, lengthy sentences, or abstract concepts. It requires a clear, brief, and direct instruction. An affirmation such as, "I am in the process of developing a comprehensive strategy to gradually improve my financial circumstances," is ineffective. It is too lengthy, too intellectual. Your subconscious disengages. In contrast, an affirmation like, "Money flows to me easily and constantly," is far more powerful. It is simple, direct, and generates a clear impression. The second principle is the present tense. This is perhaps the most prevalent mistake. We habitually formulate our desires in the future tense. I am going to be prosperous. I will secure that position. I will become healthy. By doing this, we are giving our subconscious a very precise instruction to keep that desire in the future. And the subconscious obediently ensures that wealth, the opportunity, or the health are always slightly beyond reach on the horizon, never here and now. The subconscious operates only in the eternal present. To impress it, you must formulate your affirmation as though your desire is already an accomplished reality. Not, "I am going to be," but "I am." Not, "I will have," but "I have." By affirming your desire in the present tense, you create the internal impression that it is already real on the mental plane, which is the only plane your subconscious recognizes. The third principle is emotional charge. A thought without emotion is a seed without water. You can repeat a phrase 1,000 times, but if you do so mechanically, like repetition without presence, it will carry very little effect. The essential factor for an affirmation to penetrate the subconscious is to feel the emotion of the affirmation as if it were already true. Before you begin repeating your affirmation, take a moment to evoke the feeling. If your affirmation is, "I am living a life of abundance and freedom," Close your eyes for an instant and ask yourself, how would I feel if this were absolutely real right now? Perhaps you would feel calm, grounded, deeply grateful. Connect with that emotion. Let it fill your body. And then, from that emotional state, begin to repeat your affirmation. Now the words are not merely words. They are carriers charged with the energy your subconscious requires to begin constructing. The fourth principle is persistence. Planting a seed once and anticipating a harvest is unrealistic. Subconscious reprogramming is not a single event. It is a process. It demands consistent and persistent repetition to dissolve decades of existing programming. Picture your old limiting beliefs as deep grooves worn into a road. A single pass of a new vehicle will not establish a new route. You must travel the new path repeatedly, day after day, until the new groove is deeper and more natural to follow than the old one. Repetition creates the habit, and the habit solidifies into belief. Now, there is a frequency that researchers in quantum biology and ancient sound healing have associated with cellular restoration and emotional transformation. 528. This frequency has been called by some the frequency of love, of repair, of return to original wholeness. As you begin working with your affirmations, consider this. The words you choose to repeat in your drowsy state before sleep are not merely psychological tools. They may be vibrating at levels within your body that go far beyond what the conscious mind can measure or track. Speak your affirmations not just as instructions, but as living frequencies directed at the deepest layers of your being. Practice building your master affirmations. This exercise will guide you in constructing your own personalized autosuggestions. Step 1. Identify the area. Select a dimension of your life you wish to transform. Be specific. Choose something concrete. For example, I want to feel more assured in my professional capabilities. Step 2. Transform the desire into a present fact. Take your intention and rewrite it as a short, clear, present tense affirmation. If the desire is, I want to feel more confident, the affirmation becomes, I am secure and capable in everything I do. If the desire is, I need greater financial abundance, the affirmation becomes, money flows to me in abundance and without strain. If the desire is, I hope to find a harmonious relationship, the affirmation becomes, I am in a deeply fulfilling relationship grounded in love and mutual respect. Step 3. Add the emotional charge. Now add a phrase that describes the feeling of your wish already realized. This personalizes the affirmation and amplifies its potency considerably. I am secure and capable in everything I do, and I feel a deep calm and competence in all that I engage with. Money flows to me in abundance and without strain, and I feel immense gratitude and inner freedom. I am in a deeply fulfilling relationship grounded in love and mutual respect, and I feel completely whole and at peace. Step 4. The imprinting ritual. Now that you have your master affirmation, you require a consistent ritual to plant it. The most effective approach is what Joseph Murphy called the lullaby technique. Choose a moment. The most powerful time is at night, just before you drift into sleep, in that drowsy state where the conscious mind is beginning to release its hold. Lie down comfortably. Allow your body to soften. Begin to repeat your affirmation over and over, in a low voice or silently in your mind. Do not do it with strain. Do it passively, gently, as if you were soothing yourself toward rest. The key is to arrive at a state of passive acceptance, where you are no longer trying to believe. You are simply absorbing. Fall asleep within the feeling. The goal is for the final conscious impression you carry before sleep to be your affirmation, and above all, the feeling that accompanies it. In this way, your subconscious mind will continue working with that impression throughout the entire night. As you practice, you may encounter resistance from your conscious mind. It will say, "This is meaningless. You are deceiving yourself." This is entirely normal. It is the old captain attempting to maintain dominance. When this occurs, do not fight that voice. Simply acknowledge it with calm and return to your practice. With each repetition of your affirmation, you are gradually diminishing the old captain's grip and strengthening your direct connection with the engine room. Another obstacle is impatience. We desire immediate evidence, but growth in nature follows its own rhythm. You do not uproot the seed daily to assess whether it is developing. You plant it, you water it, and you trust that the law of growth will fulfill its function. In precisely the same way, once you have planted your affirmation in the subconscious, release the need to witness immediate results. Continue your practice with a quiet and steady faith, knowing that you have set an infallible law into motion. Autosuggestion is the act of consciously selecting the seeds you wish to see flourish throughout your life. It is the reclamation of your authority as the gardener of your own reality. It is the deliberate and living dialogue with the giant that resides within you. Chapter 5. The Cinema of the Mind, the Magic of Visualization. This is the language of the image. Your subconscious mind thinks in images. It is its native tongue. If someone speaks the word success, your conscious mind grasps the abstract concept. But your subconscious mind immediately searches for an image. Perhaps the image of an office with your name on the door. Perhaps that of your family smiling together on a journey. Or that of an audience rising to its feet in appreciation. The image is instant, complete, and, unlike words, is always accompanied by an emotion. For this reason, disciplined imagination, the deliberate act of creating images in your mind with intention, is the most powerful instrument you possess for subconscious reprogramming. This is not a simple daydream or an escapist fantasy. Visualization, when practiced with precision, is the act of drawing the architectural blueprint of your future reality and delivering it to the master builder that is your subconscious. The most potent technique for this is what we will call the mental movie technique. It consists of becoming the screenwriter, the director, and the central figure of a brief scene that represents your desire already fulfilled. It is not a documentary about how you intend to achieve your goal. It is a short film that reveals the outcome. The happy ending already arrived. The foundational principle that makes this technique so transformative is the key to all conscious manifestation, evoking the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Your subconscious does not respond to the image of the car you wish to own. It responds to the feeling of freedom and expansion you believe that car will give you. It does not respond to the image of a bank account reflecting a certain number. It responds to the feeling of security and peace you associate with that number. Therefore, the mental movie must not concentrate on the process of striving toward something. It must concentrate on the moment after you have already arrived. Do not visualize the act of receiving recognition. Visualize the quiet confidence of someone who has already earned it and lives within it naturally. Do not visualize the difficult conversation. Visualize the warmth and lightness that exists between two people after genuine understanding has been reached. By placing your focus on the end and genuinely feeling it as present and real, you are generating the emotional signature that your subconscious recognizes as a directive to materialize. Creating your master movie is an art. It requires clarity, sensory richness, and, above all, feeling. The creation of your master movie, a step-by-step guide. Step 1. Define the happy ending. The first step is to achieve absolute clarity about what you desire, and then to condense that desire into a single, brief scene that unmistakably implies its fulfillment. The scene should be short, no more than 10 to 20 seconds, so that you can return to it easily, like a loop. If your desire is restoration of your physical well-being, the final scene is not the treatment. It is your physician looking at you with wide eyes and saying, "Your results are extraordinary. You are completely well." Or perhaps the scene is you moving through a physical activity you were previously unable to perform, running along a shoreline, feeling the strength returning to your body, the wind against your face. If your desire is financial freedom, the scene might be a moment with someone you love in which you say with joy, "We have cleared everything. We are free." Or the scene of you reviewing your financial picture with a deep, unshakable sense of peace. If your desire is to find your ideal companion, the scene is not the first encounter. It is a moment that implies an established and joyful bond, perhaps looking at a reminder of your shared life with profound contentment, or hearing words of love spoken with complete naturalness. The scene must be personal, deeply meaningful, and must generate a strong, positive emotional response within you. This is not performance. This is the architecture of your inner world. Step 2. Activate all the senses. Once you have your scene, your responsibility as the director is to make it as real as possible for your subconscious. To accomplish this, you must engage all of your senses fully. Close your eyes and immerse yourself completely. Sight. Do not merely see the scene, look at the details. What colors are present? What is the quality of the light? What are you wearing? What expressions do you see on the faces of those around you? Make it vivid, specific, and alive. Hearing. What sounds exist within your scene? Are they the words of someone you admire, telling you that you have done something extraordinary? The sound of a key turning in the door of a home that belongs to you? The laughter of people you love most? The addition of sound transforms the scene from a photograph into a living film. Touch. This is one of the most powerful senses. What do you feel against your skin? The embrace of someone who loves you without condition? The texture of something that symbolizes your achievement? Feel the weight, the warmth, the solidity of the world within your scene. Smell and taste. Often neglected, these senses are among the most deeply connected to memory and emotion. Is there a fragrance in your scene? The scent of a place that means freedom to you? The taste of a meal shared in celebration with people you cherish. The more sensory richness you can weave into your visualization, the more authentic the experience becomes for your subconscious mind. You are constructing a synthetic memory, one that carries the same neurological weight as a genuine lived experience. Step 3. Feel the core emotion. This is the climax of your mental movie, the essential ingredient that makes everything else possible. As you visualize the scene with all your senses engaged, identify the dominant emotion you would feel if this were your present reality right now. It is not a surface-level excitement. It is a deep, settled feeling of the soul. Is it gratitude, relief, freedom, peace, serene joy, a love so complete it requires no words? Once you identify that emotion, give your full attention to it. Allow it to expand outward from the center of your chest into every part of your body. This emotion is the seal, the signature that communicates to your subconscious, this is real. This has already taken place. Step 4. Repeat the scene in a loop. Now that you have your sensory and emotionally charged mental movie, your practice is to project it consistently. Repeat the brief scene over and over in a continuous and unforced loop. The goal is for the scene to become so familiar, so natural, that it gradually loses its quality of being imagined and acquires the quality of a quiet and certain memory, something that has already happened and simply awaits its physical expression. Practice your private screening session. Exercise 1. Your movie script. Open your journal and, based on the 4 steps above, write the script for your mental movie. It does not need to be lengthy. Give it a title. Describe the final scene in clear sensory language. List what you see, what you hear, what you feel against your skin, any scent or taste present. Then, identify and write the core emotion, the deep feeling that the scene generates in you. Having your script in written form will provide you with clarity and focus each time you begin your visualization practice. Exercise 2. The Nightly Cinema Ritual. The most powerful time to impress your subconscious is in that drowsy state just before sleep. That threshold between waking and dreaming where the conscious mind begins to release its firm hold. This is your private screening time. Step A. Lie down comfortably and allow your body to fully release all tension. Enter that soft, dreamlike state where you are no longer fully present to the outer world, but not yet fully surrendered to sleep. Step B. Begin to project your mental movie. Inhabit the scene with all its sensory detail and, above all, with the core emotion that belongs to it. Step C. Repeat the scene gently and without strain. If your attention drifts, return kindly to your movie without judgment. Step D. The goal is to fall asleep while genuinely living within the feeling of your wish fulfilled. The final impression of consciousness before sleep becomes the directive your subconscious works with throughout the night, rewiring your beliefs and drawing toward you the precise circumstances required for its expression in the world. Your imagination is not an escape from reality. It is the projector that illuminates the path toward it. It is the architect's most essential instrument with which you design the structure of what is coming. What you project with faith and genuine feeling onto the inner screen of your mind, your subconscious will receive as an order and will construct with quiet and tireless precision in the outer world. Chapter 6. The Power of Sleep. Programming your mind while you rest. Imagine you wish to deliver a message of vital significance to the ruler of a vast empire. During the hours of the day, the ruler is in his hall, surrounded by advisors, attendants, and an endless procession of competing voices, all demanding attention. This is the conscious mind in its active state. If you attempt to approach with your message, it will be analyzed, questioned, and most likely rejected by the skeptical council before it ever reaches the ruler's awareness. But at night, the ruler withdraws to his private chamber. The attendants are gone. The advisors have retired. The noise of the court dissolves into stillness. There is a brief and extraordinary window, just before the ruler descends into deep sleep, in which his mind is calm, open, and alone. If you could place your message into that awareness at precisely that instant, it would enter directly and without resistance. This is the perfect metaphor for the relationship between your conscious and subconscious mind. During the day, your conscious mind is alert, active, and protected by the guardians of logic and habitual skepticism. But twice in every 24 hours, these guardians lower their vigilance. These are the golden portals for reprogramming, the direct passages into the deepest chamber of your subconscious. These two moments are the drowsy state just before you fall asleep at night and the similar state of soft awareness that exists just after you wake in the morning, before your conscious mind has fully reassembled itself. Joseph Murphy, like many other masters of the inner life throughout history, insisted that these moments represent by far the most fertile ground for planting the seeds of your desires. Because in this state, known in neuroscience as the alpha and theta brainwave frequencies, the activity of the conscious mind and its critical faculty are reduced to a minimum. The threshold between the conscious and subconscious worlds opens wide. In this condition of passive receptivity, your subconscious is extraordinarily open to new impressions. An idea introduced at this time is like a seed placed in freshly turned, richly nourished soil under ideal conditions. Disregarding the power of these moments is one of the most significant missed opportunities in the pursuit of inner transformation. Many of us do the opposite instinctively. The final thought before sleep is often a rehearsal of the day's difficulties, tomorrow's pressures, or unresolved conversations. We drift into sleep carrying a weight of negative emotion. By doing this, we are unknowingly handing our subconscious a blueprint for more difficulty and more tension, and instructing it to work with that blueprint for the next several hours. And then we are puzzled when we wake feeling tired, unsettled, or without direction. In the same way, the first action many of us take upon waking is to reach for a device and immediately flood our newly open, highly receptive mind with the noise and urgency of the external world. We are allowing the chaos outside to set the first directive of the day for our subconscious, rather than claiming that authority ourselves. Taking deliberate control of these two daily portals is a profound act of sovereignty over your own inner life. It is the equivalent of securing a private and exclusive meeting with the ruler every single night and every single morning, without interruption, without competing voices, with your full message received in complete stillness. The subconscious lullaby technique for the night. This technique is your primary instrument for nighttime reprogramming. It consists of distilling your desire into a single, brief, and potent phrase, and repeating it with gentle feeling until sleep arrives naturally. The essential quality here is passivity. You are not drilling an instruction into your mind with force. You are placing a seed into extraordinarily receptive ground with the softest and most trusting touch. Imagine you have already received what you desire. Imagine that the feeling of relief, of gratitude, of arrival is already yours. Now, compress that feeling into the briefest possible phrase. If your desire is inner peace and courage, the phrase might be, "I am safe and at peace." If it is the experience of financial abundance, it might be, "Thank you for my wealth." If it is physical vitality, it might be, "I am whole and full of life." The phrase must be short enough to require no mental effort. It must carry emotional resonance, and it implies imply completion, not hoping, not striving, but receiving. The process is this. Lie down. Allow your body to soften completely. Let your awareness drift into that gentle, borderless state between waking and sleep. and then begin to repeat your chosen phrase, softly, unhurriedly, with feeling. Do not force it. Do not concentrate with intensity. The quality of the experience should be one of peaceful absorption, as though you are listening to a melody that belongs entirely to you. Allow the phrase to be the final conscious impression before sleep arrives. You are placing your order with the engine room, and then you rest, with the quiet certainty that the crew will work through the night to bring it into form. The first thought technique for the morning. The moment of waking is equally sacred and equally powerful. Your subconscious mind has been in deep creative operation during the hours of sleep, processing, reorganizing, seeking solutions. The brief window before your conscious mind fully activates is a moment of unusual clarity and natural intuition. The practice here is to consciously resist the pull of external distraction. Before reaching for any device, before rehearsing your obligations, be still. In that stillness, do two things. First, listen. Turn your attention inward and notice what emerges. The resolution to something that troubled you the previous day may surface with quiet simplicity. Your subconscious may present you with exactly what you needed, having worked through the night to find it. Keep your journal within reach, and record any impression or idea that arises before it fades. Second, affirm. Before the weight of the day's demands has an opportunity to arrive, plant the first seed of the new day deliberately. Return to your lullaby from the night before. Speak it inwardly with feeling. Declare the emotional quality you intend to carry through the hours ahead. You are providing your conscious captain with clear navigational coordinates before he sets out, which changes everything about the direction the ship travels. Practice taking command of the portals. Exercise 1. The design of your personal lullaby. Open your journal. Choose a single primary intention you wish to focus on for the coming weeks. Define the desire. Identify the happy ending, the final scene that would represent its fulfillment. Distill the core feeling of that scene into its essence. Then compress that feeling into the shortest phrase that still carries its full weight. This becomes your lullaby. Write it down. This single phrase will be your sole nighttime reprogramming instrument for at least 21 days, the minimum period required for a new impression to begin establishing itself as a genuine pattern within the subconscious. Exercise 2. The Morning Sanctuary. This is a commitment you make to yourself without exception. The foundational rule: for the next 7 days, you will not engage with any external device for the first 15 minutes after waking. No exceptions. Use those 15 minutes in the following way. 5 minutes, listen. Lie still and allow whatever thoughts, feelings, or impressions wish to surface to do so naturally. Do not direct or force anything. Simply receive. Keep your journal close. 5 minutes, affirm. Repeat your lullaby or your master affirmation for the day. Let the feeling it carries fill your body before your eyes are fully open to the world. 5 minutes, feel gratitude. Before rising, bring to mind 3 things for which you feel genuine appreciation. Not performed gratitude, real, felt gratitude for something specific, something present, something true. This small ritual, practiced with consistency, has the power to transform the entire trajectory of your days. Instead of beginning each morning in a state of reaction to whatever arrives from outside, you begin in a state of deliberate inner creation from your own center on your own terms. Your mind does not cease its work when you fall asleep. In fact, that is when its most profound and mysterious labor begins. By consciously taking hold of the helm in those sacred moments just before sleeping and just after waking, you cease to be a passenger at the mercy of whatever currents the night brings. You become the captain who, even while resting, ensures that the ship continues sailing with purpose and direction toward the destination of your choosing. There is a number that appears repeatedly in the study of consciousness, in spiritual traditions across cultures, and in the mathematics of cyclic patterns. 11. It is considered a number of awakening, of alignment between the inner and the outer, of the moment when what has been invisibly forming begins to become visible. If you have been practicing these techniques and have not yet seen tangible results, remember this: the absence of visible evidence is not the absence of growth. The seed does not announce itself before it breaks the surface. The work happening within you right now, in the quiet of your consistent practice, may be closer to its expression than your conscious mind can currently perceive. Hold steady. The 11 reminds you, you are at the threshold. Chapter 7. The Secret of Gratitude. The Thank You that Manifests. Now we arrive at the catalyst, the ingredient that accelerates the entire process of inner growth. The feeling that functions as both the sun and the rain for the garden of your mind. This ingredient is gratitude. In our culture, we habitually reduce gratitude to a social formality. It is the word we speak after receiving something, a polite acknowledgement, a courteous response to a gesture of kindness. But genuine gratitude, the kind that carries the power to reshape reality, is not a reaction to something already received. It is a cause. It is a state of being. It is perhaps the highest vibrational frequency a human being is capable of sustaining. The law of the subconscious is clear. It manifests what we accept and feel as a present truth. And here lies the profound secret of gratitude. When do you feel genuine, deep gratitude? You feel it after your desire has been fulfilled. You feel it after you have received the news you hoped for, after you have healed, after you have arrived at the destination you set out for. Gratitude is the natural emotional signature of the wish already fulfilled. Therefore, when you learn to feel gratitude before your desire manifests in the physical world, you are performing the most powerful act of faith available to you. You are transmitting to your subconscious mind the most unambiguous signal possible, that the outcome you desire is not something you are hoping for in the distance, but something that has already been received on the plane of consciousness. You are closing the loop. You are inhabiting the end. And your subconscious, upon receiving this powerful emotional impression of an accomplished reality, has no choice but to begin aligning your outer circumstances with the inner truth you have already accepted as your own. Gratitude in this sense is not a petition. It is a declaration. It shifts the inner frequency from the energy of pleading, "Please let this happen," to the energy of receiving, "Thank you, because this is already mine." It is the fundamental movement from a consciousness of lack to a consciousness of abundance. A consciousness of lack focuses perpetually on what is missing. A consciousness of abundance rests with quiet gratitude on what is already present, both in the visible dimension and in the invisible one, where all things take shape before they become physical. The practice of gratitude also carries a measurable neurobiological foundation. When we cultivate a genuine state of gratitude, the brain releases dopamine and serotonin, the same neurochemicals associated with deep well-being and inner contentment. It takes the body out of the chronic state of stress and vigilance, which is the biochemical signature of scarcity, and places it into a state of openness and restoration. A mind and body bathed in authentic gratitude becomes more perceptive, more creative, more resilient, and significantly more attuned to the opportunities and solutions that are always present, but so often invisible to the contracted awareness of fear. There are two primary expressions of gratitude as a tool for conscious manifestation. The first is gratitude for the present. This is the foundation without which nothing else can be built with any stability. Before you can authentically feel gratitude for what is not yet visible, you must develop the capacity to feel it fully for what is already here. The untrained mind takes for granted the extraordinary abundance that already surrounds it. In its restless search for more, it overlooks the wealth it already possesses. The deliberate practice of present gratitude trains your awareness to shift its filter, from scanning the world for problems and deficiencies to scanning it for beauty, for grace, for evidence of a generous and responsive universe. This practice is disarmingly simple in its form. Each day, consciously identify specific things for which you feel genuine appreciation. But do not do it as a mechanical exercise. The secret is in the specificity and in the feeling. Do not simply state, "I am grateful for my health." Go deeper. Say inwardly, "I am profoundly grateful for the strength in my body that allowed me to move through this day, for the breath that comes and goes without my asking, for the eyes that let me see the light changing on the wall in the late afternoon." Feel the gratitude as a physical sensation in your chest. Let it be real. By practicing this, you are not only elevating your emotional state in the moment, you are tuning the frequency of your entire being to the signal of abundance, communicating to your subconscious, I already live in a generous world. I am already surrounded by evidence of good. I am prepared to receive more. The second expression is gratitude for the future as if it were already present. Once you have developed a genuine capacity for present gratitude, you are prepared to take the next step, to begin using gratitude as your most advanced manifestation instrument. This is the Thanksgiving technique that Joseph Murphy described with such conviction. It consists of offering thanks for your specific desire as though you have already received it fully. It is the act of living within the end, not with desperate hope, but with the calm and settled faith of someone who already knows. Practice the ritual of manifesting gratitude. Exercise 1. The Present Gratitude Journal. This is your daily practice for tuning your awareness to the frequency of abundance. Every morning, before your day gains momentum, write in your journal 3 specific things for which you feel genuine gratitude in this present moment. Follow the principle of specificity and feeling. Reach for the particular, the concrete, the real. Every evening before sleep, write 3 new things from the day for which you are grateful. Train yourself to look for the good that was present in every ordinary hour. A moment of unexpected warmth. A problem that resolved itself quietly. A sensation of beauty you almost missed. This practice alone, sustained with consistency, has the demonstrable power to transform your emotional baseline and your perception of what your life actually contains. Exercise 2. The Prayer of Future Thanksgiving. This is your instrument for manifesting a specific desire. It is not a prayer of asking. It is a prayer of acknowledgement, of receiving what has already been given on the inner plane. Step A. Define your desire with complete clarity. Know precisely what you intend to call into your experience. Step B. Formulate your declaration of gratitude as though you have already received it. Write it in the present or past tense. For example, thank you for the clarity and confidence that now guides every decision I make. I am deeply grateful for the abundance that flows through my life in expected and completely unexpected forms. I feel the peace and the freedom of someone who has already arrived. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Step C. The Ritual of Feeling. Read this declaration each night in your drowsy state, but do not merely read the words. Your real work is to feel the emotion of gratitude as though the news has just arrived, as though you have just received confirmation that everything you desired has been given. Let that feeling of relief, of joy, of deep peace move through your entire body. Fall asleep within that state. You are handing your subconscious a completed blueprint, not a request, but a confirmation. And it will work through the night to bring your outer reality into alignment with the inner truth you have declared. Chapter 8. Your Right to Be Rich. Programming Prosperity. We now arrive at the most practical and, for many, the most urgently desired application of these mental laws: the conscious creation of wealth. And the very first thing we must do before applying any technique is a thorough clearing of the mental terrain. We must face one of the most pervasive and quietly damaging limiting beliefs embedded in our culture: the idea that there is some inherent virtue in poverty, or that the desire for wealth is somehow selfish, unspiritual, or morally suspect. This belief is one of the most consequential acts of self-sabotage we have inherited. Life, by its very nature, is expansive. A tree does not attempt to grow only a little. It grows as tall, as wide, and as fully as its conditions allow. A river does not choose to flow with a mere trickle. It flows with the complete abundance its banks can hold. Expansion, abundance, and full expression are the natural impulse of the universe. Poverty, limitation, and scarcity are, in reality, a distortion of this natural impulse, not a sign of virtue, but a sign of misalignment with the creative nature of life itself. You have the right to be prosperous, and it is not a selfish right. It is one of the most purposeful aspirations you can hold. Genuine prosperity is not simply the accumulation of possessions for personal comfort. It is the freedom and the resources to live your life in its fullest expression, to develop your unique gifts without the constant pressure of survival, and to extend meaningful support and generosity to others in ways that matter. A person with a compassionate heart and no resources can offer sympathy and good intention. A person with a compassionate heart and abundant resources can build something that lasts, that heals, that reaches far beyond what any good intention alone could accomplish. Therefore, the first step toward programming prosperity into your subconscious is to grant your conscious mind full permission to desire it, without guilt, without apology, without the quiet internal voice that says, "Wanting this makes you less than good." It is to receive wealth not as a compromise with something lesser in yourself, but as a natural expression of a life aligned with its full creative potential. Once this foundational clearing has taken place, we can begin to understand why so many capable, intelligent, and hard-working people struggle with money throughout their lives. The reason is that they have cultivated, without realizing it, a deep consciousness of lack. They exist mentally within a constant experience of not enough, and their subconscious, faithful and impersonal as always, reproduces that experience with perfect consistency in their financial reality. This poverty consciousness reveals itself in the habitual thoughts and phrases that circulate through the mind without examination. There is never enough. I cannot afford what I truly want. The prosperous get more prosperous, and those without stay without. Every time such a thought moves through your awareness unchallenged, you are planting another nightshade seed in your garden. You are transmitting a precise directive to your subconscious. Maintain this experience of limitation, and it will obey. To draw genuine abundance into your life, you must cease to oppose it internally and begin the deliberate cultivation of a wealth consciousness. This does not require you to pretend that your current financial circumstances do not exist. It requires you to stop identifying with them as your permanent reality. Your current financial picture is simply the harvest of your past thinking, the accumulated result of seeds planted, consciously or unconsciously, in seasons already past. It is not your identity. You are the gardener, not the harvest. And you hold the power in this very moment to begin planting an entirely different crop. Applying the tools for prosperity. The autosuggestion of wealth. Your task is to construct a subconscious lullaby that encapsulates your new financial reality in its simplest and most emotionally resonant form. Joseph Murphy frequently recommended the use of a single word that, for the individual, symbolized the entire fulfilled desire. A word like wealth, a word like abundance, a word like freedom. At night, in your drowsy state, begin to repeat this word over and over with gentleness and with feeling. Do not repeat it mechanically. As you speak it inwardly, feel what it truly means to you. It is not merely currency. It is security. It is time. It is the ability to be generous without calculation. It is the freedom to make choices based on what you truly value rather than what you can barely afford. Feel that entire dimension of meaning as you rest in the word. Fall asleep with it resonating softly in your awareness. If you prefer a phrase, something like, "Money flows to me freely, copiously, and endlessly, for my good and for the good of all," carries particular power. That final element is essential. It neutralizes any residual guilt by affirming to your subconscious that your prosperity does not diminish anyone else. It expands the field. It tells the deeper mind that your abundance is a contribution, not an extraction. The visualization of the abundant life. Now construct your mental movie of prosperity. Remember the foundational principle. Do not visualize the act of acquiring money. Visualize the reality that this abundance makes possible. Create your final scene. Choose a moment that, for you personally, is the unmistakable symbol of genuine financial freedom. It does not need to be extravagant or dramatic. It could be the quiet act of reviewing your financial picture and feeling for the first time in your life a complete and unforced sense of peace. It could be the experience of giving generously to something you care about deeply, feeling the pure joy of having enough to share without any internal conflict. It could be booking an experience for the people you love most, without the familiar contraction of anxiety, with nothing but anticipation and ease. Charge your scene with sensation. Feel the texture of the moment. Hear the sounds within it. Feel the warmth, the relief, the settledness of it in your body. And then locate the core emotion, the deep feeling beneath the scene itself. Is it peace? Is it freedom? Is it the quiet dignity of someone who is no longer in conflict with their own life? Anchor that emotion. Allow it to fill you completely. Project this mental movie in your nightly reprogramming sessions with consistency and with trust. Make it so familiar, so natural, that your subconscious begins to hold it not as a fantasy, but as a memory of something already real. The practice of prosperous gratitude. This is the accelerant that causes everything else to move faster. Begin now to live within the gratitude of abundance as a present experience. Every time you meet a financial obligation, every time money moves through your hands in the act of payment, pause for just a moment. Instead of contracting around the experience of loss, shift your awareness. Be grateful for the service that obligation represents. Be grateful for the electricity, the shelter, the food, the connection. Be grateful that you have the means to honor it. This single shift in perspective, practiced consistently, transforms every financial transaction from an experience of scarcity into an experience of flow. You begin to feel like someone through whom abundance moves freely, rather than someone from whom it is constantly being taken. A case study, the story of a salesman. Joseph Murphy documented the experience of a salesman who had been struggling to sustain himself financially, feeling inferior to his colleagues and quietly resentful of those who appeared to succeed with less effort. Every morning he would begin his day by telling himself he would not succeed that day, and his subconscious, as always, honored that instruction with perfect faithfulness. After encountering these principles and applying them with genuine commitment, he changed his approach entirely. Each night before sleep, he constructed a mental scene, himself at the end of a productive and fulfilling day, recording appointments and completed work with a feeling of calm satisfaction. He felt the confidence of someone who expected good outcomes because he had prepared for them on the inner level. He repeated this mental movie throughout the day with feeling, and every time the old thought of inadequacy began to surface, he would cancel it and replace it with a quiet internal affirmation. The work I do serves others well, and the law of abundance operates through me freely. Within a single month, his outer reality began to shift. He became among the most consistently effective members of his team. He had changed nothing external, not his product, not his territory, not his hours. He had changed the orders being transmitted to the engine room, and the engine room, as always, responded. Practice your reprogramming plan for wealth. Exercise 1. The diagnosis of your financial consciousness. For the next 3 days, become an impartial and honest observer of your inner dialogue around money. Note every moment of internal complaint about cost or price. Note every moment of envy or resentment towards someone else's prosperity. Note every time the thought arises, I cannot afford this. Note every time you feel a tightening of anxiety when you consider your financial situation. This diagnosis is not for self-criticism. It is for clarity. What you observe with honesty, you can begin to transform with intention. Exercise 2. The 21-Day Wealth Ritual. Each morning, before engaging with any external device or demand, spend 5 minutes with your wealth affirmation. Speak it with feeling. Then spend a few additional minutes in genuine gratitude for 3 specific things you already possess, not conceptually, but with real felt appreciation. During the day, each time a thought of scarcity surfaces, apply the cancel and replace technique without hesitation. At night, dedicate 10 minutes in your drowsy state to your mental movie of prosperity. Feel it as real. Then, fall asleep repeating your lullaby. Wealth, abundance, thank you. Allowing the last impression of your conscious awareness to be the emotional signature of someone who already has everything they need and more. Your right to prosperity is not separate from your right to life itself. It is not something external that must be chased and captured. It is something internal that must be recognized, cultivated, and allowed. The seeds of genuine abundance already exist within you. They have always been there. Your only task, the task that has been at the heart of everything shared in this audiobook, is to become the kind of gardener who plants them deliberately, waters them with the right emotions, protects them from the weeds of habitual doubt, and trusts the law of growth enough to wait with faith for the harvest. Chapter 9. The Inner Pharmacy, the Subconscious, and Healing. We now arrive at perhaps the most intimate and, for many, the most extraordinary application of the laws of the mind, the deep and undeniable connection between your thoughts, your beliefs, and the biology of your own body. Your subconscious mind not only constructed your body from a single cell through a process of staggering complexity, it also directs every autonomous function of that body in every moment of every day. It governs your heartbeat, the digestion of what you consume, the regeneration of your cells, and the intricate intelligence of your immune system. It accomplishes all of this without any conscious direction from you, following the original blueprint of perfect health and wholeness with which every human being enters the world. The field of psychoneuroimmunology has demonstrated beyond reasonable question that your emotional states have a direct and measurable influence on your immune function. Chronic stress and sustained anxiety produce elevated levels of cortisol, a hormone that, over time, suppresses the activity of immune cells and creates an internal environment that is hospitable to dysfunction and illness. Conversely, states of genuine joy, of love, of deep peace release neurochemicals including oxytocin and natural endorphins that actively strengthen immune function and support the processes of cellular repair and restoration. Your body is not a separate system from your mind. It is the physical mirror of your habitual inner state, shaped moment by moment by the quality of the orders being transmitted from the conscious captain to the subconscious engine room. The principle of healing through the mind is straightforward in its essence, though it requires genuine faith and consistent practice in its application. It consists of ceasing to plant seeds of fear and illness in the subconscious garden, and beginning instead to sow, deliberately and persistently, seeds of vitality, wholeness, and the deep cellular intelligence that your body already possesses and has always possessed. It consists of reminding your subconscious of the original blueprint with which it began its work, the autosuggestion of perfect health. Construct an affirmation that declares your state of well-being as a present reality. It is essential to avoid giving any further power or attention to the condition you wish to move beyond. Do not affirm that your difficulty is diminishing. By doing so, you are still placing the difficulty at the center of your awareness. Your affirmation must focus entirely and exclusively on the state of health, vitality, and wholeness you are calling into being. A phrase such as, "Divine vitality and wholeness flow through every cell of my body, restoring and renewing me completely." Or, in its simplest form, "I am whole, I am well, I am full of life." Each night in your drowsy state, repeat this lullaby with a deep and settled sense of trust. Feel the truth of it as you speak it inwardly. Feel something like a warm and healing current moving through you, not as performance, but as genuine inner experience. Fall asleep within the feeling of already being well. The visualization of the restored body. Close your eyes and create your healing movie. Do not direct your attention toward the area of difficulty or discomfort. Direct it entirely toward the outcome, the experience of full and radiant health already present. Imagine yourself doing something that represents complete vitality to you, moving through a beautiful environment with strength and ease, being fully present with people you love, with no limitation, no discomfort, no background awareness of anything other than the richness of the experience. Charge the scene with sensory detail. Feel the strength in your body. Hear your own laughter. Feel the quality of the air, the warmth of light on your skin. And locate the core emotion, deep gratitude for a body that has been restored to its natural wholeness. Feel that gratitude as a physical sensation. Let it radiate from the center of your chest outward. This feeling of gratitude is the most potent single directive you can transmit to your inner pharmacy. It is vital to state clearly, this approach is not a replacement for professional medical care. It is a profound and active complement to it. Work with your physician, follow qualified guidance, and simultaneously do your inner work with complete commitment. The two are not in conflict. A physician can support the conditions for healing. The subconscious mind is the force that actually performs the healing, the intelligence that knows precisely how every cell, every tissue, every system of your body is meant to function. By aligning your thoughts, your feelings, and your deepest beliefs with the principle of wholeness, you create within yourself the optimal conditions for any external treatment to operate at its highest possible effectiveness. Chapter 10. Harmonious Relationships and Overcoming Fear. The fundamental law that governs the world of human relationships is an extension of the same law that governs everything else we have explored. Your outer world is the mirror of your inner world. The people around you and the quality of the interactions you share with them are not random. They are, in large measure, a direct reflection of the beliefs you hold in your subconscious mind about yourself, about others, and about the nature of human connection. If you carry in your deepest programming the belief that you are not genuinely worthy of love and respect, you will draw toward you relationships that validate that belief, people and circumstances that reflect back to you exactly what you hold about yourself at the most fundamental level. If you are internally convinced that people will always disappoint you, your subconscious will ensure that your perception filters for disappointment, highlighting every instance that confirms the belief while rendering invisible the many moments of genuine loyalty and care that do not fit the established narrative. The most common response to relational difficulty is to attempt to change the other person. We employ persuasion, criticism, withdrawal, or open conflict in an effort to make the reflection in the mirror show us something different. But a mirror cannot alter what it reflects. It can only reflect what stands before it. The only genuine and lasting way to change what the mirror shows you is to change what you are bringing to it. And the only person over whom you hold complete authority of transformation is yourself. The affirmation for the other. This is one of the most quietly powerful techniques available for healing a relationship. Choose the person with whom you experience the greatest friction or difficulty. Instead of rehearsing their flaws or nursing the wounds of past interactions, which only deepens and reinforces the existing pattern, you are going to do something entirely different. In a state of genuine calm and inner receptivity, you are going to affirm for that person the qualities you most wish to see expressed between you. If the relationship carries tension and a quality of opposition, sit quietly and affirm with as much sincerity as you can access. I send this person peace, understanding, and genuine well-being. I recognize in them a deeper nature that is capable of kindness, of clarity, of real connection. I radiate goodwill toward them freely and completely, and I trust that goodwill to transform the space between us. This is not naivety. It is not passive acceptance of mistreatment. It is a radical and disciplined act of inner authority. By doing this, you are doing two things simultaneously. First, you are clearing the atmosphere of your own mind, releasing the toxic weight of resentment and replacing it with the clean energy of genuine goodwill. This changes everything about how you carry yourself in the presence of that person. Your body language, the quality of your listening, the tone beneath your words. Second, you are imprinting a new relational pattern onto your own subconscious. And your subconscious will work to find pathways through which that new pattern can express itself in your shared experience. Fear, the great restrictor. Fear in its most essential nature is nothing more than a negative use of the same imaginative faculty we have been learning to direct with intention throughout this entire journey. Fear is the mental movie of a catastrophic future, charged with intense feeling and projected repeatedly onto the inner screen. It is faith operating in the wrong direction, complete conviction in an outcome you do not want. You cannot dissolve fear by fighting it directly. As we have established, what you oppose with your will, you energize and expand. The only genuine path through fear is the law of substitution, replacing the destructive mental movie with a new one of equal or greater emotional intensity, charged with the feeling of triumph rather than disaster. Every time the familiar sensation of fear arises, use it as a signal, not as a verdict about reality, but as a reminder to project your triumph movie. Do it with persistence. Do it with genuine feeling. Fall asleep within the emotional experience of having come through, of having shown up, of having done the thing that fear told you was impossible. Over time, and this is the reliable operation of the law you now understand, the new pattern becomes the dominant one. The groove of triumph grows deeper than the groove of fear, and the subconscious begins to move naturally and automatically in the direction of courage rather than contraction. The conclusion. What are you going to build? Our journey began with the image of a sleeping giant, a force of immense and largely untapped power residing within every human being. We have walked together through the operating principles of this power, discovering the two captains who govern the vessel of your life and the supreme law that determines which one truly holds authority. We have learned the language of the engine room, the language of image, of feeling, of story. And we have practiced with the essential instruments of the conscious architect, autosuggestion, visualization, and gratitude. We have seen how to direct this power toward the creation of genuine prosperity, toward the support of physical healing, toward the transformation of relationships, and toward the dissolution of the fears that keep so many people from their fullest expression. Here is what you now know, and what cannot be taken from you. The power has always resided within you. It is not something you go out and acquire. It is something you recognize, something you remember. The subconscious is not an external force to be conquered or bargained with. It is the most faithful servant imaginable, awaiting clear, consistent, emotionally charged direction. And that places you, your conscious awareness, your capacity to choose, at the very center of everything that unfolds in your experience. Your most significant power and your deepest responsibility in this life is to consciously choose the thoughts you allow to take root in the fertile garden of your mind. Every thought you choose, every feeling you cultivate, is a seed planted in the ground of a creative and responsive intelligence. A cause that will, by the immutable operation of the law, produce its effect in your outer world. The journey does not conclude here. It begins, truly begins, in the moment after this recording ends, in the first thought you choose to hold, in the first seed you plant with intention. What you have received in this audiobook is not simply information. It is a set of living principles that, applied with consistency and genuine feeling, have the capacity to shift the trajectory of your life in ways that may currently feel beyond what seems possible for you. Trust the law. It does not fail. It has never failed. It operates with the same reliability as the law of gravity, impersonal, consistent, and completely responsive to whatever you bring to it. You are the captain of this vessel. You are the gardener of this extraordinary ground. You are the architect of the reality that is still taking shape. The giant within you is awake. The question that remains, the question only you can answer, is what you are going to ask it to build. If what has been shared here has opened something in you, a recognition, a remembering, a quiet but real sense that something is shifting, then consider leaving the number 369 in the comments below. In the study of energy, frequency, and the mathematics of creation, 369 has been called by some the key to the universe, the pattern through which thought becomes form, through which the invisible becomes visible. If you feel that something within you is ready to make that transition from the invisible to the visible, from the inner to the outer, from the seed to the harvest, let that number be your declaration. Let this community witness the moment you chose to awaken. Subscribe to Elite Success Audiobooks to continue this journey. There is much more waiting for you. And share this audiobook with someone whose giant you believe is ready to wake up. The most meaningful thing you can offer another person is not advice. It is a key, and you now hold one. The work begins now. The law is already in motion. Trust it.